So he's one of the few professional that can exhibit the wonders and strengths of a documentary film. So Vignesh Tangaraj is a hardcore media enthusiast, worked in an array of media fields ranging from designing to filmmaking and research. So it's not only a designer, an editor, also a researcher. So researcher வந்து ஒரு முக்கியமான ஒரு எலிமெண்ட் ஒரு மீடியா பர்சனுக்கு சரிங்களா. So he has a vast experience in field of document design structures of films, and he actually graduated from Hindustan College of Arts and Science from electronic media. So he also has visual communication from Annamalai University. So இப்போ நீங்க பார்க்குற ஒரு காலேஜோட லோகோ Hindustan College logo பார்த்தீங்கன்னா was designed by Vignesh Tangaraj. Okay, so அதுக்கு முன்னாடி பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு லோகோ இருந்துச்சு, பட் ஆனால் அந்த லோகோ வந்து அந்த அளவுக்கு ஒரு கலர்ஃபுல்லா ஒரு பிரைட்ஃபுல்லா இருக்காது, ஒரு மாதிரி சாடிஸ்டிக்கா ஒரு மாதிரி டல்லா இருக்கும். பட் இவர் வந்து ஒரு கலர்ஃபுல்லா ஒரு ரெட் ஒரு ப்ளூ அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு கலர்ஸ் எல்லாம் போட்டு இப்ப கூட பாத்தீங்கன்னா அதோட லோகோ ரொம்ப சூப்பரா இருக்கும். ஸோ இந்துஸ்தான் காலேஜோட லோகோ வந்து டிசைன் பண்ணது விக்னேஷ் தங்கராஜ். ஸோ நாட் ஓன்லி a designer and visualizer, also an editor as well as a researcher. சரிங்களா? So presently his work is a Denmark based company. He has a consultant innovation. He has also worked as a senior music fund. So Vignesh has a multitude of experience in designing and development, as he worked in ISRO as a graphic designer. ISRO உங்களுக்கு எல்லாருமே தெரியும். ISRO space research. So his documentary Chola Murals has won best documentary in Avatar International Film Festival in 2016. Okay. So this documentary is actually about the Chola Murals. So archaeological insight. நீங்க போனீங்கன்னா உங்களுக்கு தெரியும் எப்படி வந்து பில்ட் பண்ணாங்க, how the colors are used, lighting எல்லாமே வந்து ஒரு கிளியரா இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங் ஒரு டாக்குமெண்ட்ரியில கேப்சூலா கொடுத்துருப்பாங்க. சரிங்களா? So he also designed, obviously I told you know, not only Hindustan College but many industrial logos. Okay. So aesthetics and research பாத்தீங்கன்னா ரெண்டுமே actually go hand in hand for Vignesh Tangaraj. So not only designing but also researching. So this is Vignesh for you. Useful arco, make use of this opportunity and hope everyone has a good knowledge about what filmmaking, that is documentary filmmaking is. Thank you. Thank you, Paulson sir. Now I request Rasul sir, HOD of School of Media Studies, to felicitate our chief guest. Now this session will be taken over by our resource person. The stage is yours, sir.
Hello. Good afternoon to everyone. How are you doing? Okay, put some energy scale here. 5 for 1, great for 5, fantastic for 10. How are you doing, guys? Fine? Okay. Okay, fine. Let me tell you a short story how I actually started a journey with documentary, how I got interested in documentary, then before going for further sessions with the workshop. Before that, let me ask you one question. Let me honest with you. Let me raise your hand if you feel excited, if any one of your works get rewarded or if you get recognition in any one of your work. Please raise your hand if you feel yes or no, please let me down. Why? Why do you feel yes? Because let's say if your answer is yes or no or in intermediate, as human beings, we always love to get revenue, right? We always want reward in kind of any events, let's say singing or dancing or high racing, anything, whatever the steps we do. We expect a near kind of recognitions. But the place where we lack is we find it hard to find the right spot. Now, let me tell you a story. I will remind back to 2015, and the scenario is I'm in second year. We are preparing for the film festival, for hosting a film festival for our college. There are two characters. Yes, the character one is myself, the narrator of the story, and the second character is Paulson. And he was given a kind of a job for collecting all the CDs and DVDs from different colleges, different from various Tamil Nadu, from the big places of Tamil Nadu and also from other states. And after few days, he gave all the collected CDs to us. Since he was a class teacher, he just gave few CDs to us and just to copy all the content to the hard disk. After a few days, when I right-click the property in PC, the total entries which we received for whole a lot for documentary, short films, PSA, ad was almost near to 80. And on 80, if you ask, what is the number which we received for the documentaries? Any guess? We just received 6 DVDs for documentaries. And for PSA and other advertisements, we got just around 10 to 12, if I'm not wrong. And if you do some math, and the rest belongs for the short films. That means if you do the math, 64 short films and 6 for documentaries. This is the entries which we got. So as a second year, even when I was in first year, my HOD used to tell me that, guys, you have a lot of potential. If you could do a decent work, not the best, a decent work in documentaries, you have a chance of getting the award, at least first, second, or third. Now let's do some kind of alternative math now. What is the winning percentage of documentary? Let's say I'm the 6th person. I just kept the 6th CD in that lot. What is my winning percentage? 50. Now, let's put the number for short films. The total number of short films is 60, right? Now, what is the winning percentage for short film? 5. So I did kind of a smart work there. It's not I'm not here to emphasize the weightage of the documentaries or short films. That's not my intention. But if you could do some kind of, some smart work in choosing a career where you could put your main level of effort in such a way that you can bring up a most number of rewards. So I just wanted to let you know a small concept called, a principle called 80-20 principle, right? 80-20 principle, also known as Pareto principle. It was an Italian economist who just found this, kind of created this principle. What is his intention is that whenever we feel in life, right, and நிறைய உழைப்பு போட்டேன் பட் வர ரிவார்ட் பார்த்தா ரொம்ப கம்மியா இருக்கு. பக்கத்துல இருக்கிற பையன் பார்த்தா ரொம்ப சின்ன ஒரு எஃபர்ட் தான் போட்டுருப்பான், பட் ஒரு ஒரு நல்ல ரெகக்னிஷன் இருக்கும், இல்ல ஹார்ட் ஒர்க், அதுக்கு முன்னாடி ஒரு ரிவார்ட் சிஸ்டம். வேர் வி லேக் பிகாஸ் we fail to understand or we just fail to put in the smart work, So if you would like to ask me the first, I just started my career in 2005. If you want to divide into two halves, the first and second half, the very first half I just invested just hard work. And later, after getting past, just started understanding why few people are getting successful in their life, because most of them are smart workers. Let me put it in even a further simplest form. I started my career as a TTP operator in 2005, then graphic designing. Then I sustained that graphic designing for a longer period of time until I realized this 80-20 principle. Then I found, let's put, what is the next designation? How many graphic designers are there here? Okay, what is the next designation for graphic design? Let's say your designation is graphic designer. You got a appointed, or got placement in a company. What is the next designation? Okay, fine. Next. Okay, next. Okay, but it comes in various fields, right? Let me put it in simple way. Graphic designer, senior graphic designer, then visualizer, senior visualizer, art director, then senior art director. Now put the same 80-20 principle. Let's say graphic designer, how many hours he puts in a working hours, almost 10 to 12%. Sorry, 10 to 12 hours. And what is the working hours where the art director puts in? Office work பண்றது என்ன பண்றாங்க தெரியல, பட் நான் பண்றேன், பட் வரது நான் பண்ணது. Why? Because once you raise your capabilities, you need to increase your smart work. That means once the star is being raised to your shoulders, your responsibility increases. So that means the 80-20 principle works in the way that the total amount of hours, let's say 100 hours, 80 hours is being done by graphic designer and just 20 hours is done by art director. Now let's take the remuneration, the salary or the paycheck. 100 rupees there, let's 100 rupees. How it is being divided? He just get 20 rupees and the remaining 80 rupees goes for the art director. So think about this, guys. I just don't want to elaborate more on this 80-20, but when you go back just Googling 80-20 principles, this actually makes sense. You know why I'm connecting this kind of things? In the second year, chose document is a kind of passionate things. Okay, there's a less number of you, only 6 people are there. What if the winning percentage is raised from 15 to 60 or 70? But the effort is huge there because there is no particular kind of materials given in our, in our subject. It's more towards television. It's more towards, the cinematic experience, but not in the document because it's a niche market. So I thought, okay, I'll put some effort. If my effort has been well driven in the right place, I have more chance in coming to about 80 or 90%. And I still feel when the third year came, I decided, okay, my debut work should be a documentary. And when one of the guest lecture, was called for a documentary, I was giving a speech and I used the same word which was used by the Alfred Hitchcock. And I feel like it's kind of connections, the character one. I never thought after 7 years I would meet Parsons, the guy who actually collected the CDs, just with a smart work and kind of doing some kind of math. I could have to present here in front of you for presenting workshop on documentary filmmaking. So that's because a little bit of smart work and you just need to put align with audio. It's not just necessarily need to be documentary filmmaking. You can find the smartest working writing. You can find smartest working, artists. If you're RJ or VJ, let's say singer or editor, find the smartest way you can come up across from 60 to 70 to 80%. So we'll see more in our sections. We'll get back to our sections. And thanks for listening and thanks for giving this opportunity. And at the end of the workshop, I have some bonus kind of a session for you how to align your passion and how to align your job. Because most of the time, even I have done the same mistake in my college days. Because photography but we never get in the right place, right? Because we never know what his passion is, what his job is. So I will just give you a small tip at the end of the section so that it will help you to, get the right job or kind of the field you wish to place in. Thanks a lot. Let's move on to our sections further. So even though as the document we want the amount of effort, to invest in research in doing a document is we feel like it's huge, but it's not. But due to the distance, people are actually going, less effort I to try in the document. Now I will give you the 80% of the analysis, I will give you the 80% how to make an efficient document. So that we come up with that, 80% of the 20%, and I leave the 20% to you in a sense that depends upon the topic you. So the key reason, so the sole reason why I don't want you guys to spend the same time and energy I invested in that. Those of you who are short, those of you who are short, we need to invest in learning about philosophy. Now we need that 80%. Let's start with Brent was question. This document is a part of you. You can raise your hand. You can raise. Now, next is documentary a non-creative disorder. Yes or no? No. No, if you do not know, you can raise your hand. Yeah, answer is there. Okay. Now, let me ask you and can you take up that answer? In fact, I think my answer will give you right, right for reason. So, why is documentary? If you raise that's not an extension of police coverage, then what does it mean? Sorry. Okay. Anything which you document, it's documented. As உங்களுக்கு கோரிக்கை பாட்டியில் போட்டோ எடுத்து அந்த காலத்துல நான் ஒரு 4 photo. It's also a document. But the point is, how many number of audience we get on it? So anything which you document, and even of mental opinions of people, any incident is the documentation. So so we had a thinking, but anything which you do to the video platform is document. Now, coming to the question, is document a non-creative activity? Document films are creating people of actuality. Most of the time, you're not getting wrong, but actuality is presenting the information, not dumping the information. If you challenge the information from Wikipedia or some other means which appears in the first system of Google, then we take some content and we just put in the timeline and we get the voice out and the product is done. But the true part is actually creative treatment. The reason why I could choose, that the one is the less number of things that the chance choices can more rather than just number they are very friends from Google. But they come to the Indian talking to data and gossip. But they come to they have narrating so I put that why can't we do the possibility in the English format rather than to the English? Now, the hardest part, is this challenge that once you go through that, then that is your thing. Trust me, once you get the right of the then it will create an end number of applause for you. Now, proceed to you. Let me get the 5 items. What can be a topic or a document? something related also come on the top of the list when we choose for a document. And initially, I also had this kind of same mindset, when we go for a document, we ask, let's, because the news it doesn't cover in most of the time, right? It's just a news bulletin. So the coming to that, the document is not a human expression, it's not a part of me. News is just what happened to me. Tomorrow, what happened to me. But the document is, just stop bringing some kind of information which is not known to us. So now choosing a topic, I would say, leave your primary mind rather than the non-calculated right or the two primary, yes, absolutely fine. Because the following or because big topic, I mentioned the topic to my own that I do believe people and each fellow now actually and only very and he said nothing by and I could relate it in the right? In the age of technology, you can't get mindset. Now, I'll tell you the reason of this amazing so when I was watching this movie, and then you think of that opportunity that right? It has certain similarity also like they have some experience kind of and instead of the part of kind of template for cooking, I usually call it very for the time, just for time we all that's what you're showing. But what I have in mind is that if you use my 8 hours, answer okay, 5 minutes that I will have. Okay, 10 minutes. Okay, let's 10 minutes. Yeah, conversion. When we choose 5 ingredients. I felt like, okay, I really I really couldn't get an answer. But I'm just open, I'm giving the open topic to you guys. If you're able to find the right kind of interesting stuff, then just the standard will be found. Then if you're able to convert that into a region, then it will be useful for the usually. It's a topic. And the reason why I'm doing this is we always find in same water or pollution or poverty, these are the things which always comes in our mind. But that's really but are we putting effort in providing solutions to the topic which we choose? So that really matters. Now, where can we choose the topic? If you have a given so from the land we are deciding. If you are from Ethiopia, you can take the money from your own land. For me, I just choose to provide much more facilitated what is the food, what is the history, how the temples appear, what is the science behind that. These are the things. We have participated, but we never know that. We always just get attracted to some distance, they relate to our topics. So the any topic under this tag is eligible for documenting. Point 1. Point 2. Always be in an audience point of view. Who is going to watch? 100 audience, thousands, lakh. So which topic will not translate the audience? That matters most. Now, let me tell you a brief history how I can brief history how. So I really think that topic of choosing a journal journalism, but choosing a topic comes from you should come from your own you are so well put in even a Bible and all the parts of it. How can you do a document on the Bible? So anything which should be making you are good, stand you know. So ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು you know, let's say just like the movie, right? Just go and look at the rough book of your children. You will know that there are two people memorize it. Likewise, if you want to choose a topic, take a topic which actually fascinates you for 20 years. That actually matters. You know? Then go for some kind of person. So for me, I was much more fascinated with what media is saying things in the manipulation like you know, what are they? No, I'm not doing a painting, but I really do admire those paintings. So, first topic what I chose, okay, why don't you choose a topic and do the one? Every time when we come up with, you know, most of the people are painted artists. So I just want to explore that and how they actually landed in Kutuba, right? And how they migrated to the cinema field. So I was just doing some kind of YouTube research and kind of online. And to some extent, I got some information. Second was Kerala murals. So I was just searching that how about Kerala murals. I could able to find more than 100 documentaries of Kerala murals, all the documentation. Then I said, what is the stage there for me to explain? Okay, I have put that soon. Then the third comes Chola murals. Okay. As I gone from the Chola, I didn't know that Chola murals was there inside the table. Then I started studying stuff. And usually when we choose a topic, it's not necessarily that you need to choose a topic right from the table. It can be A, B, and C, or someday or other you feel like the topic B has some sense. Now the yellow one I know is for John Mueller's, when I was reading a news article, you know, I read a news article, online article from Hindu saying that the Professor S.K. Govindasammy was just actually walking through inside the pavement, you know, the circularity, and he saw a 17th century which was peeling off from the wall. And suddenly he felt like there was another painting which was underneath, which was done 1,000 years ago. So it felt like the painting, the 10th century painting was overrun by 7th century painting. It was when you know, the latter and the deep of the project, so how about converting this kind could do it? And a source is there are few but other platforms. I don't see quite a number of documents done with this. So this was output from the documentary. So I have you know the candle. It's like when you candle, what is one way that we need. So immediately the candle. Now we are coming to the creating part. If we are just continuing an interview and say, doesn't make sense. When you transfer to the part, it makes more sense. ladies and gentlemen, translate that visual. Then and so other elements, it could create more effect rather than bringing effect. Now, we know language, right? Classical language. I want 5 inputs from you guys about the language. It is not a road. Or the one should know at least. Why it became the classical language? Okay. This was a clip from another document from Tamil, put down by the produced what actually it means is that we have 10 words in the construction of any language, and how it comes to construction in a very time. What is the important personal concept right from where the company evolved, right? Since 2000 years ago, they have evolved a set of characters, they built the language, they constructed the language, and they even as a person how to use it in discussions. Until now, what you read in the American the presentation that came from that means these particular languages are mature. That is what hey. That means language, are fixed. In India, almost 2,000 languages are speaking instead of 50 languages, and all that is nothing. Let's say if you're not good at this, listening is not my fault. The point, the idea here is what you see may not be the truth. So see what everybody else has seen, see what nobody else saw. The video, hey, the government is your government department. The reason it is government is from all the ages, right from the infant to the baby. Why? Because the volume is restricted. But here government is used for that we always don't ask the questions, right? They do right. The question is how it of past 5 years. I think Yarvin underworld and the word is Yarvin fails. So the question is what actually makes the viewers 15 and to choose about. Now, it's not just accept because it's not necessary that you so now as the postscript of the research now how we can do if let's say from the scale of 1 to 10, if you put in a researching from 7 to 8, you'll be let's say no, researching is not one to 8. To a research. Then no no the idea behind is to find the person who actually connect the number of and so let me take you to Yeah. Let's find a person. Then who would have future? Then now, here,
Tiram Akas
Yetişen Murat'ın etkisi.
Kala geçiyor. Ne?
எத்தனை பேர் போட்டோ what is the value to watch it? Huh? Movies. Memories. In here, when you choose one, when you choose one from you, you choose a similar kind of topics, which actually connects the emotions, it connects the emotions, you know. And the second reason why I chose inserts in here is so simple. The job of us, the media person, is to find out particular person who actually done that. As simple. Maybe இன்னும் நான் ரொம்ப சிம்பிளிஃபை பண்ணி ஒரு ரிசர்ச் இல்லாம எப்படி நிறைய பேர் ரிசர்ச் பண்ணிருக்காங்க அவங்க நம்ம ஃபைண்ட் பண்ணி கரெக்டா நம்மள தான் ஆக்சுவலா ரிசர்ச் only very few people do this. For in my case, எனக்கு ஆக்சுவலா எடிட் பண்ணுறது டாக்குமெண்ட் யோசிக்கிறது but I was expecting to do a non-fictional editing for my to learn my edits. யாருமே so fine okay. Why can't we do document? Okay, then what is the process? Third year and 1 year script. I see நிறைய வேலைகள் நான் பண்ற ஸ்கிரிப்டிங் கரெக்டா இருக்குமா இல்லையா the reason why I chose the documents I need this, right? Notice that. So யாருமே இல்லை then why can't you take that and learn that craft script right? Speaking, you know, the child viewers, the two things people applauded is that the first one, when like it's not, you know, it's like scripting, but it's not actually editing the actually for the script. But then, okay, I have taken out of some comfort zone. Likewise, if you're not feel that simply, if you are even in a low state, that's fine. The key area is just put your own soul into that. Just apply it. So, even in case if you are not interested in research, find it, but find the people who have done that. Our job is to make it in the right, interesting way. Now, next slide. I see, begin with a topic like poverty and crime scenes and harassment. There are huge topics. Even my third topic is, you know, it's hard to pick up and review that. But after watching this two documentaries and hear that, you know, we are going in pandemic time. The first documentary is about in-person is nothing but silence order importance. Silence simply so simple. So they done a documentary just full feature film, in the sense the full feature documentary about silence. Now you have silence for the evidence. Just watch about it. And also the second one, the learning movement. Now, just walk away. We never know what are the benefits. Even we have seen the system, you know, the longevity of our grandparents, it starts always about 80, 90, even 100 years, you know. But the reason behind is just walking in our life. And we have done a documentary. So see the topic, we need to widen our, the topics. So take from your interest, then find and script on. And if you are planning for research for 5 months, go with people. Let's say if you have 2 months or 1 to 2, find a person who actually done that research, do it in a if you have 5 days, and you also think just visit the website like Be Better India, they only disclose only the positive news in India, right? And you can put it as a or any other tags, which talks about what positive story, the real life story. Someone said it's a true story. You can take, yes, for a time, you can do that same stuff, or if you want to finish project with it, let's say for 10 days, 5 days, then just go and meet the people who have already done that. Again, the smart work, 80-20, find that people who done the 80% is already done. By that person. Now, I will take a research from 4 months. There are even people who used to research for 10 years, the influential people. Number of 4 months, something 4 or 3 or 2, even 1 day. They are actually trying to make document 1 day. Let's see how they come up.
I mean, it's not going to be 8 months. I'm sorry. 30-minute film, 32 hours of footage. But I also may have 5-minute short film with 8 hours of footage, 2 weeks. I mean, it's a day. We're good. Why not? Yeah. Okay.
First thing that we did was start with curiosity. One day, we narrowed it down to 1. The guy apparently sells Gatorade, which is this super sticky fruit that smells like garbage. That's not me saying it, that's the New York Times saying it. This is the world's smelliest fruit. Brother is super science. Apparently, and more than even
A lot of times, the people that work there.
That right there sounds like a great character. And the story that came up with was pretty good, maybe not, and that's not the process. And this story came from a simple list of photos we captured of the shots knowledge being made, and an interview with her story. Wrote that. Now, there really wasn't that much information about it online, you couldn't research that much. And then so, we headed over to this book called Big It wasn't as busy as Nessus, but we thought we were better using it.
Well, I was trying to get them, but anything, one comment on first, you might need to start at the beginning, and I need to know. Once I got my head, started getting in and out of the gaming path, so I took the camera up, through the people, I found myself doing this in through the kitchen probably 5 times. And then on the last one, the cook walked in during the class and said, "I'm late."
Now, finally, after we get that opportunity, that's not only our operator, oh my God, I'm trying to make. When we have our interview with us, we use the story that we already written.
Of course, you gotta make the doll.
And how I love them.
We make sure everything with the trash, ready.
Then we heard something that really good. That was.
That's not belong to us, Tasty Dumpling. It's not belong to us, right?
You didn't know it? It turned out that all that footage that we've gotten at Tasty Dumplings were actually our dumplings.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, okay.
So then somebody bought it.
I see.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was so surprising.
That was absolutely surprising.
Everything we thought we knew was wrong.
No, we knew it's wrong. No. To be totally frank, it was devastating. I mean, we had to spend the entire day filming a documentary based on this story, that the dumplings at Tasty Dumplings were the same as the dumplings at Mrs. Dumplings, that same care, that same hard work, that story that we had planned for was true. And I'm not even sure. To be honest.
It was just one website we saw it on, right? Like, who knows if that's reputable?
Yeah, that's true, actually, yeah.
Really?
No, okay, yeah. That was a part of the process, and this is exactly what we had just talked about. So, we threw the initial script that we had wrote out. We rewrote the entire thing, and added a new script together, and here is just a little bit of what we got.
A wonderful way to approach documentary is if you don't know how it's going to end, it's the journey, and that's what was so wonderful for me.
It was an idea. They went for 1 day to shoot a document in 1 day, then finally they found, okay, well, it's kind of dumplings, and what they found is something, a different character. But the key part is it possible to shoot a document in 1 day? Not in the initial stages, not when we are learning that stuff, But if we are too skilled with that, editing and kind of stuff, we can actually patch up with even a good footage. I mean, a good document with a short one. Let's see how they actually remake that with a short one without any alterations of the short, and they just rewrote the script and aligned it in a beautiful way.
A short walk from the Brooklyn Bridge is Columbus Park, the heart of Chinatown, where a box of chied and pork fried dumplings only costs $1.50. To see how they're made, walk straight back to the kitchen. I mean, after you ask permission, of course.
First, you gotta make the dough, water and flour, then put the filling inside, shrimp with some vegetables or chicken. Then you boil them or fry them. Most of them we use water, so at the end, the water is gone, so only oil left, that makes crispy.
This guy tells me his boss isn't there, that the boss is his wife, and that her name is Vanessa. Wait, does he mean Vanessa Wang, owner of the very popular Vanessa's Dumpling House? Less than a mile away, Vanessa's dumplings are slightly more expensive. I tell her I have just come from Tasty Dumplings.
That's mine.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, but that's not the first one. This one is the first one.
She says she opened Tasty Dumplings,
That's our second restaurant.
but no longer runs the day-to-day operations at Tasty. So I asked about her husband who works there.
No, I don't want
Okay, so something here was miscommunicated. Vanessa did start Tasty Dumpling, but she sold it years ago, and the guy who said his wife is Vanessa must be a different Vanessa. Besides, she says, her dumplings taste better.
I think the meat is different. We don't want to use that much fat stuff. We want to use quality vegetable and meat. Sometimes, people don't understand that. They think it's tasty, but it's because you add a lot of fat. That's why it tastes better.
What does it feel like to know so many people love your product?
I feel so good about that because, we spent 20 years to create this brand, Vanessa's.
So until now, we were just discussing how we choose it all. And further, the time for the session, right, it get reduced and reduced. And the reason why I'm emphasizing on topic and the screenwriting is that this is the place where, we basically pay less attention. When, I used to get few documentary editing, work for documentary editing, the most of the time the amateurs, they just shoot, just like, say for example, I got a work regarding, for Kuva the documentaries, but is there any change? No, but they have done n number of documentaries on Kuva Mrigu. But you know what? They shot all the footages and they just came to me and just for the editing. Where is the script? There's no script. Then they started writing a voiceover, then with the script, and with that script, we just align according to that voiceover script kind of things. So the reason why I'm putting more attention here is that when you know where you are traveling, what is your script writing is, then you pay just less number of time in footage rather than shooting all the contents and just revising into the script. Because the 80% people just actually drop the documentaries because it's a kind of, it's a hard pain. It's a job, we need to do some research. But these are the simplest way I could be able to boil down in where you could be able to take something out of that. Now we are moving towards how to write a script, I'll just make it even more in a simplified way where you could be able to write a screenwriting. And again, I'm presenting the screenwriting in the way that I actually started my journey, For screenwriting, I'm just nil, but I somehow found a kind of trick to write a script. It's easy it's easy, then we actually think in our mind. Now, usually when we go for script writing, right, we collect a lot of stuff and a lot of informations. For dumpling an example, they did some research, some online stuff. Meet the key factor is character. We need some character to speak about that dumplings. But they all had a kind of some notes, or sticky notes, on what to start or where to start. The point is, if you're investing kind of a research, in initial stage, blind what is dumplings, how it is made. Just for the sake, I'm just taking that example. How it is made, what is the history on that? After 15 days or 20 days, we are stuck up where to start. Because we are being thrown out just like in the ocean. For Chola murals or child trafficking, first start kind of initial ideas, but now over 30 ஒவ்வொருத்தரும் ஒரு இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் கொடுத்துட்டே இருந்தாங்க. After I had a 3 months for project submission, just I took almost 45 days for just binding of the script because I don't want to compromise on the script. So I was just meeting all the people on the way, and someone and one point like our mind kind of lot of clutter with information where to start with. I want to do a Chola murals, but எனக்கு அந்த ஒரு clarity இல்லாம இருந்தது. And you know the key technique in putting the chaos or the confused state in the order way is very simple. I will just tell you a kind of a small technique. For that, let's play a game, right? Let's have some fun. Now, back. Now, next thing about the slide, I'm over 60 seconds display பண்ணுவாங்க. You just need to collect the numbers. You need to count from 1 to till how many numbers you will be able to count, you know. So let's see out of 60 seconds எத்தனை numbers உங்களால find பண்ண முடியும் அப்படின்ட்டு. And the time starts now. Count in ascending order. Okay, next slide. Ten to மேல எத்தனை பேர் கிடைச்சு? About 10. இல்லையே கிடைக்கல. Oh, less than 10. Okay. About 20. About 20. About 30. 30 cuts. Sorry, 40, above 50, and 60. Yeah, that's now. If majority of the people couldn't able to find out from 1 to 54, right? Now I will display the same image in the order where I will just cut into 9 pieces, just like we used to have for rule of third, right? And I will give you a tip how to count. Just count from first box 1 for the second number, box 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, then 10. Let's again take that same number, same count, 60 seconds. Let's see how many actually clears it. Next slide. About 10, 20, almost 30, 40. நிறைய பேர் கிடைச்சிருக்கோம். Key takeaway. ஒரு சின்ன ட்ரிக் ஆக்சுவலா நம்ம ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பார்க்கும்போது நிறைய கேஆட்டிக்கா இருக்கும். பட் ஒரு சின்ன சிம்பிள் ட்ரிக், ஒரு லைன் போட்டு அதோட ஆர்டர் நமக்கு கிடைச்சிச்சு அப்படின்னா we feel like there is no chaos in this, right? You just started counting from 1, 2, 3 and you went on, right? So likewise, I will tell you a small tip for writing a script. In initial days, actually when I was taking the Chola murals and child trafficking as a topic, I initially didn't have this kind of techniques, and one of my professor from other department, they were asking, what are you doing? I'm just going for to make a documentary. What is your topic? I said Chola murals. Enna solla pora. I really didn't have an answer. And உண்மையிலே சொல்ல தெரியல என்ன சொல்ல போறேன். நிறைய mid part எல்லாமே கலெக்ட் பண்ணிட்டேன். I had just collected the major part what I need to put in mid part, but I don't know how to start or how to end. Then I came to my hostel. I felt like I'm completely in a chaos. So always our pioneers, even when I was in college days, our pioneers, the filmmakers always used to tell, even in psychology, when you are in chaotic mind, always put it in writing. So everything will be clear. So what I felt is, I will tell you one statement from Tirukkural. That means, next slide please. It's not about how much you learn. You may be very good at learning the camera or the techniques, or you'll be so skilled in paintings or writing. But when someone asks what is that, you should be able to decipher or tell in a very easier way. ரொம்ப எளிய முறையில உங்களால சொல்ல முடிஞ்சுச்சுனாக்க உங்க மைண்ட்ல அந்த chaos இல்ல அப்படின்னு அர்த்தம். So even the second stance says that when someone says something, always listen in such a way that there might be a point which we never heard before. To simplify this thing, I will put next slide. When I just reading, the main source for my information for the Journal of Universe was completely a book. Online, there was some certain saturation. I could be able to get more information regarding that painting. On the basic, on the snippets, the Hindu paper. But in detail, I just went for some book publications. But full basic things where I need. But still, that didn't make sense for me to write a script. First, then I felt like, imagine a person, an old fellow, old person is standing in front of you or having a conversation with you, and they are asking you for 5 minutes. அப்ப ஏதோ ஒரு டாக்குமெண்ட்ரி பண்றேன்னு சொல்லியே அது எதை பத்தி பண்றீங்க, அவங்களுக்கு நீங்க என்ன சொல்லுவீங்க? தாத்தா நான் இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு கேமரா வச்சு ட்ரோன்லாம் எஃபெக்ட் எடுத்து நான் கொண்டு வந்துட்டு போறேன் அப்படின்னு நீங்க சொல்லுவீங்களா, இல்லை அந்த கதையை எப்படி ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணுவீங்க? So you just start with very basic things. தாத்தா ஒரு ஊர்ல ஆக்சுவலி ஒரு கோயில் இருக்கு, அது கோயில் ஒரு ராஜா கட்டி இருக்காரு, அது ஒரு 1000 வருஷத்துக்கு முன்னாடி உள்ள கோயில், அதுக்கு நிறைய விஷயங்கள்லாம் இருக்கு, சிறப்பான விஷயங்கள். பட் அதுக்குள்ள ஒரு பெயிண்டிங் இருக்கான் தாத்தா, அது எனக்கு இப்பதான் தெரியுது, நான் நெட்ல தேடி பார்க்கும்போது வீடியோவா ஒரு ஆவணமா இல்ல, சோ அதை பத்தி நான் பண்றேன். Okay, I was actually literally conversing in that room with that invisible old person. Then I started writing down my one line. The script came. Next slide. So the one liner for the script came like, it should be always a one liner. Don't go for just elaborate script, just a one line. Brief history or contemporary paintings, then discovery and what is murals, and go on and with the conclusions. So if you want me to just simplify how to write a script, மைண்ட்ல இருக்கிறது ஒரு சாதாரண ஒரு சாமானிய மக்களுக்கு நீங்க என்ன சொல்ல போறீங்க அதை ஒன் லைன்ல எழுதுங்க. அண்ட் ஒன் லைன்ல எழுதுனதுக்கு அப்புறம் just elaborate it. After one line, just elaborate. The first line, just 2 paragraphs. Second line, 2 paragraphs. Afterwards, you will get a 1.5 page of script. That is script writing. This is the easiest way to write a script. Actually, I just categorized into 2 different parts. Like someone said, historic topic. How you start with the biographies? Because you need to know about that person. So first source, it will be from book or some kind of video references. So first you choose a topic, research, one line, voiceover script, and go for the footages. In case if you want to go for the revision of voiceover, you can do that to condense that into 5 minutes or 6 minutes. Then editing, done. As simple. Now current stories. Current story of someone said crime or kind of something investigating. அது இப்ப நடந்துட்டு இருக்கிற ஒரு விஷயம். So there might be some conspiracy or kind of some other hidden things. So it always evolves. The underlying research, rescripting, just like we saw in the doublings. So this is the way format which we actually go for writing a script. Now we'll play a short. Next slide. And இங்க எத்தனை பேருக்கு ஆக்சுவலா சோஷியல் ரிலேட்டடான காஸ் ஏதாவது பண்ணணும் அப்படின்னு தோணும்? நாட் த்ரூ the documentary, at least through our short films or through you. And any other person? Media, actually, it's a powerful tool. So you feel like you want to do some impact to the audience where it actually creates a change. So when I went for the third project, I was just actually counting down I just noting down all the people where I met and what is the key takeaways. And the key takeaways from the person I met is Mrs. Fatma, a documentary filmmaker. She always tells about that. We always take social cause issue. But at the end, we won't provide solutions, right? So always don't be an information provider, rather be a solution seeker. So the content, if we're making a social cause issues, on the top of the chart, award, so emotional ரொம்ப நல்ல டாக்குமெண்ட்ரி இந்த மாதிரி பார்த்ததே இல்லை ஊர் நல்லா இருந்தா நல்லா இருக்கும் then we will shut it down, we will get the award. What next? There is no change. So if you are making a documentary on social cause, always just pay attention in the way that you provide solutions. For the second, I advise to do in such a way that for child trafficking, நீங்க எங்க எப்பவுமே இதெல்லாமே கவர்மெண்ட் பிரச்சனை அதை அவங்க பார்த்துப்பாங்க அப்படின்னு விடாம ஒரு காமன் ஆடியன்ஸ் ஏதாவது ஒரு சொல்யூஷன்ஸ் அங்க கொடுக்குற மாதிரி பார்க்கணும். ஏன்னா யூ புட்டிங் யுவர் எஃபர்ட் ஃபார் 2 to 3 months. அந்த இடத்துல பிளாண்டா அரசாங்கம் இப்படிதான் இருக்கு என்ன பண்றது பார்த்துக்கலாம் அப்படின்னு don't end in that way. Always come up with a solution. And the key reason or kind of key differences between the Western documentaries and the Indian one is நம்ம எப்பவுமே பிரச்சனை தான் சொல்லுவோம், ஒரு சொல்யூஷன் எடுத்துக்கவே மாட்டோம். நீங்க வெஸ்டர்ன் டாக்குமெண்ட்ரிஸ் எடுத்து பாருங்க, the key difference will be the people who being the character of the documentary will be provided with solutions. சில வீடியோ கிளிப்ஸ் நான் ப்ளே பண்றேன், எந்த அளவுக்கு இம்பாக்ட் அவங்க கிரியேட் பண்ணிருக்காங்கன்னு பார்க்கலாம். Unless don't take a subject on this social cause just because they try to create an emotional impact the audience. Now, script writing or video play பண்றதுக்கு முன்னாடி can you write? என்னால அந்த சிஓ ஸ்டேட்ல இருந்து ஸ்கிரிப்ட் ரைட்டிங் ப்ராசஸ் எப்படி வர முடியுது அப்படின்னா நம்ம எல்லாருக்கும் ஸ்டோரி டெல்லர்ஸ் தான். பட் we never understand that. இப்போ நீங்க let's say I want anyone to tell a story in just 15 seconds. Can anyone volunteer? Short stories for 30 seconds குள்ள. இல்ல பேண்டமிக்ல என்ன நீங்க ஃபேஸ் பண்ணீங்க, just 15 seconds or 30 seconds, you can take 1 minute. Okay, I will tell you. But நீங்க கொஞ்சம் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் கிட்ட நீங்க பேசுறீங்க அப்படின்னா நீங்க நிறைய கதையா பேசுவீங்க. You will stage ஒரு crowd fair இதெல்லாமே இருக்கு. பட் அந்த inhibitions now if you just take out that and you start telling a story, மச்சான் ஒரு ஊர்ல ஒரு தாத்தா இருந்தார், ஒரு ஊர்ல you will just அங்கே ஒரு establishment start வந்துடும். Because இயல்பாவே we have been brought up through hearing stories right from the caveman till now. தாத்தா பாட்டி இந்த சின்ன இதுல இருந்து நம்ம கேட்டு we know how to start with first, middle and end. But we never discover that we are a great storytellers. எல்லாருமே storytellers தான். நீங்க அந்த பெஞ்ச் இல்லைன்னா அந்த கட்ட சுவர்ல நம்ம பேசும்போது அதுலயே நிறைய அந்த 3 act structure இருக்கு. But we don't know that. We don't realize that. So I just want you to play a video who actually elaborates on this 3, first, middle and end. Hold the controllers. In the next video, இன்னொரு video.
All entertainment. Documentary, commercial, or feature film, dramatic film. The audience expects to take from one point when they walk in the theater or turn on the TV to another place into a final place. You want to go on a ride. And so all filmmakers, I think, owe it to an audience to tell some kind of story that has a beginning, middle, and end. So whether you construct it consciously or not, when you think about it, all stories, whatever you do, the story you're coming over here to talk to me today, I mean, that has a beginning, a middle, and end. That's just the way we do things. So I don't think you're constructing anything. If you follow the character and you meet them, and you're doing this film for some reason, you find an interesting character, and here's where they're at. Well, if you follow them for any length of time, you're going to see their life change, and maybe they're trying to get something. That's why you're interested in the beginning. So in Act 2, they're going to be trying to get that out, and perhaps, yes or no, they'll either get it or they'll come up against something that they might not be able to surmount. In Act 3, you're going to see whether they get it or not.
And in just a question, சின்ன வயசுல யாரெல்லாம் கதை எழுதிருக்கீங்க? Notes. And anybody else? எப்படி நீங்க எழுதுவீங்க கையில? அந்த 3 actors பேசிக்கா வந்துருமா? So அதேதான் documentary. Then we will move forward to next slide. So, in a fast pace, and we will have production stage and post productions. And number either script and by for face polish we cross. Now visualizations. The key part, number usually number in the Tandi TV in the News 7. If you watch the documentaries from there, they are so solid enough in researching. But the point we actually lack, the point where we lack is அது எப்படி ட்ரீட்மெண்ட், அது எப்படி பேக் பண்றதுல நமக்கு தெரியாது, ஒரு இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங்கா எப்படி கொண்டு வரது தெரியாது. லெட்ஸ் சே இப்போ உங்களுக்கு வரைய தெரியும் அப்படின்னா வரையறதுலேயே நீங்க ஒரு விஷயத்தை நீங்க கன்வே பண்ணலாம். இட்ஸ் நாட் நீட் தட் யூ நீட் அ கேமரா டு ஷூட் சர்டன் திங்ஸ். இப்போ ஸ்டாப் மோஷன்ல அது பண்ணலாம், இல்ல போட்டோகிராஃபிஸ்ல பண்ணலாம். இப்போ ஒரு சின்ன எக்ஸாம்பிள்ஸ், நான் நெக்ஸ்ட் ஸ்லைட், குட்டி எக்ஸாம்பிள்ஸ். இப்போ யூனிட்டிங்கிற ஒரு டாக்குமெண்ட் பாத்தீங்கன்னா அது ஃபுல்லா வாய்ஸ் ஓவர் தான். சிலவங்க சொல்லுவாங்க ஏன்னா இது ஃபுல்லாவே பேசிட்டே இருக்காங்க, ஏன்னா அதுல ஒரு ஃபுட்டேஜஸ் இல்ல, ஏன்னா இன்டர்வியூவே இல்ல அப்படின்னு. இது ஃபுல்லா பார்த்தா இன்டர்வியூவே இருக்காது. Unityல you don't find, even in the blog they have mentioned that it's narrated by 100 celebrity voiceovers. That means voiceover மட்டும் தான் இருக்கும், no interviews. Second, Baraka, yes, obviously video மட்டும் தான் இருக்கும், interviews இருக்காது, voiceover இருக்காது. Just நிறைய footages இருக்கும், time lapse இருக்கும். They just connected telling a story through visuals. If you are interested in photography or videography, just shoot what is actually happening in Chennai, just day in and day out. காலையில இருந்து நைட் வரைக்கும் அதோட ஆக்டிவிட்டிஸ் என்ன, அதுவே ஒரு டாக்குமெண்ட்ரி தான் in a very visual stunning way. And third one, human testimonies மட்டும் தான் இருக்கு, just interviews. ஒரு 4 மணி நேரம் footage in fact அது நீங்க யூடியூப்ல போட்டாலே தெரியும். It's just a testimonies of different people, just like a common ingredient like ஒரு love பத்தியோ இல்ல ஒரு the job, அவங்களோட ஒரு வாழ்வாதாரம், the basic things, how they have been brought up, they keep on telling in front of the camera. It is also a part of it. And the third one, how many of you see The Walk movie? The Walk, ரெண்டு ட்விட்டருக்கு நடுவுல ஒருத்தர் நடப்பாரு, அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு மூவி ஒன்று. So அதோட டாக்குமெண்ட் நான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பார்த்த ஒரு டாக்குமெண்ட். இது எல்லாமே ஷார்ட் ஃபுட்டேஜஸ் மட்டும் தான் இருக்கும். இன்ஃபேக்ட் தி வாக்ல பார்த்த அந்த இன்டென்ஸ் அதே இது இந்த டாக்குமெண்ட்ரியில இருக்கும். நெக்ஸ்ட் ஸ்லைட். And the third one and the next one, Born into Brothels. இதுல அந்த ரெட் லைட் சிட்டில பிறந்த குழந்தைகளோட லைஃப். So they just went and shoot the real footages. இதோட நான் எலாபரேட்டிவா உங்களுக்கு நான் வீடியோ I will explain. Then the second one, investigation. நமக்கு எல்லாருக்குமே என்னன்னாக்க டாட்டர்ஸ் ஆஃப் மதர் இந்தியா வந்தது தெரியாது. பட் நம்ம அந்த டெல்லியில நடந்த கேஸுக்கு ஒரு டாக்குமெண்ட்ரி வந்துச்சு, நிறைய வயலன்ஸ். But that is particularly investigational. But here they also investigate what happened to a child, the same situation for a 6-year-old young girl, went through the same process. and also they provided a solutions, what we can do, that is one of the documentary from National Award winning. And home, aerial shot மட்டுமே இருக்கும். Just aerial shots. Voice over இருக்கும், no footages. மேல ஒரு ஹெலிகாப்டர்ல ஒரு கேமரா just fix பண்ணிட்டு they just render shot. And the core again investigation. நான் இது ஏன் சொல்றேன் அப்படின்னாக்க நம்ம எப்பவுமே ஒரு ரிஜிட் ஃபேஸ்ல இருக்க வேணாம். It just don't want to be in a rigid way that documentaries always need to be interviewed. We can do some creative. Just go for and shoot. If let's say I don't have any time for this, that's fine. But if you're good in cinematography or kind of in photography, show your skills just by choosing a documentary, just like we saw in Baraka. Next, we will just fast forward to those few slides. Next one. A-roll footage கொடுக்கும். backல வரும். backல வரும். Okay. So shooting பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் as simple. Now we have a content. Assume that we have a content. Two things, A-roll and B-roll. A-roll அப்படிங்கிறது main content, the master source. இப்போ let's say இப்போ நீங்க யாராவது இன்டர்வியூ பண்றீங்க அப்படின்னாக்க the first camera will be A-roll footage நீங்க place பண்ற camera positions எப்படி இருக்கும்னாக்க it should be like here. So they should not face in front of camera. It's not just something like a news reading மாதிரி இருக்க கூடாது. It's like 3x4 frontal shot. Then the examples will be next slide like this. So the key factor, first they should look a bit offset to the camera placement, so in a way that they actually interacting to the person, maybe you are the one. And next point, the key factor is light should actually cover the 80% of the screen. Now if you see, these are the light directions, so it covers 80%. This says that this is a positive audio. So always when you go for a shooting, just take a care on which part the light falls. So this is A-roll footage. So the master footage வந்துருச்சு. Next one, the key soul of the post-product means the production stage is B-roll footage. இப்போ நம்ம முன்னாடி நிறைய ஸ்டைப்லாம் பார்த்தோம். இன்டர்வியூ வச்சிருக்கலாம், இல்ல வாய்ஸ் ஓவர் இருக்கலாம். But assume that you have interviews, but you want to make that documentary even more interesting, so that போர் இல்லாத ஒரு ஸ்டஃப் கொண்டு வரணும் அப்படின்னா you need a lot of B-roll footages. You can't keep on seeing a person just keep talking and talking. இப்போ இதே நான் டாக்குமெண்ட்ரி நான் எடுக்கிறேன் அப்படின்னா I don't make sure that you are seeing me for longer hours. It will make you bored. So within 15 to 20 seconds, you need to cut to different shot. Otherwise they get bored. So B-roll footage. Next, you need to shot. Let's say if you're taking a documentary on pottery making. நீங்க சில கிராமத்துல இருந்து இருக்கலாம், அங்க ஒருத்தர் ஒரு நல்ல வயசான நல்ல ஒரு பானை செய்வார், அதை பத்தியே டாக்குமெண்ட்ரி பண்ணலாம். how he actually makes, அந்த ஒரு கம்யூனிட்டி எப்படி வளர்ந்தது. So if you're taking that, A-roll footage will be that person who actually doing a pottery and he will tell all about his history and how he started. Then the B-roll will be kind of how he makes. So you will take a lot of different shots, and with the editing you align in such a way that it makes more interesting. And like we saw in dumplings, we hardly see the main character just speak in front of camera, but we have a lot of shots. Even the most interesting shot is what they mentioned is ஒருத்தர் வந்து அப்படியே உள்ள போவார், kind of ஒரு slow இதுல வந்துட்டு அந்த dumplings வைக்க போவார். So those are the things which makes more interesting, right? Human figures இருக்கணும், but you need a lot of supplementary layers to make it more interesting. Next slide. Same factor. Yeah, this is the shot which I mentioned. He just passed through inside to keep that thing. Next one. Okay. Social dilemma documentary பார்க்கும்போது எனக்கு ஒரு விஷயம் social dilemma அப்படின்னு சொல்லும்போது என்னன்னாக்க kind of they talk about all the things which we are trapped inside the social media, and the people who talk in this documentary are former CEO of Facebook, of Pinterest, of YouTube. And எனக்கு interesting part இதுல என்ன இருந்துச்சுன்னா, the one which I fascinated is that there is no B-roll footages, and yet you need to cut from within a 15 to next shot. Next shot is B-roll footage. You only have the people talking. Any cameraman here? Any tip? Sorry? Next slide. So, first shot, front camera, they are breaking the rule because they don't have a B-roll, and also to make it interesting. Next slide. Second shot, they are cutting to the next one so that it comes in a profile shot. Again, they are cutting to another one. Next slide. So that means they have 3 cameras. In case if you don't have, let's say, A-roll footages, B-roll footages, you can go with multicam. At least you can have 2 cameras and make sure you switch in between 2 cameras. And the initial days when I done my first 2 documentaries, I really don't have that equipment to have more than 1 camera. But மூணாவது documentary, okay, இங்க நம்ம ஒரு mistake பண்ணிருந்தோம். In the sense, இன்னும் ஏன் இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங்கா ஒரு 2 கேமரா வச்சு மல்டி கேமரா ஸ்விட்ச் பண்ணலாமே. It helps me for the editing. So whenever you have camera, right, just use wisely so that you don't get, it get undisturbed, the kind of thing. Next slide, maybe in konjam faster polam, the same thing, the same part. And in the back layer, இது ஆக்சுவலா நீங்க கேமராவோட ஏஸ்தட்டிக் பத்தி பாத்தீங்கன்னாக்க இட்ஸ் கம்ப்ளீட்லி ராங். இட்ஸ் அவுட் ஆஃப் த பாக்ஸ். இன் த சென்ஸ் இட்ஸ் நாட் இன் த ரூல். When you place a subject, the subject should be here and it should face from standing or sitting here, just face here. But what they have done is a brilliant move of breaking the rule. One is that now திடீர்னு ஒரு ரூல்ல இருந்து அவுட் ஆஃப் பாக்ஸ்ல வரும்போது your mind get distracted because you get used to this kind of shots. But திடீர்னு ஒரு empty space இருக்கும்போது your mind subconsciously get disturbed. அது intentionally வச்ச ஒரு விஷயம். ஏன்னா you don't have a B-roll footages. The director is actually playing with different shots to make you engage. You should not settle with certain shots. So he's making that your eye movement always switch from top corner to bottom corner. அது ஒரு unsettled way அது வச்சுட்டு பார்ப்பாங்க. So this is a brilliant move, a kind of a way to break the rule. So next slide. Same thing. Yeah, this is a collection of one. Now, we'll go to the last one, post-production. The one slide. Yes, my favorite part. இங்க எத்தனை பேர் editors, video editors, sound engineers, அவங்கள ஆட் பண்ணி sound designers, இந்த post production workல இருந்து எத்தனை பேர்? Okay, thank you. நம்ம next one, editing பண்ற அந்த first tips. Let's say இப்ப நான் உங்கள்ட்ட நான் footages தரேன். First job என்னவா இருக்கும் உங்களோடது? Editors, any editors? Simple. So you need to stack the footages. So let's say the rush footages may went for more than 2 hours. Or maybe 1 hour. Let's say now 20 minutes ஒருத்தட்ட பேசுற அப்படினாக்க it not necessarily that I need to keep the whole 20 hours in 20 minutes. It comes down to maybe 2 minutes. Who knows? But the total number of rush footages will be lengthy. Also, your hard disk will be piling up with a lot of files. The first one, you need to take all the okay shots. Empty shot and the 30 together, okay shot மட்டும் வச்சு, and you will arrange in a such a way that according to the script what the director used to do. இப்ப நீங்க அது பண்றீங்க அப்படின்னா நீங்க அதை அரேஞ்ச் பண்ணுங்க. சோ நீங்க அந்த கரெக்டான அசெட் எடுத்து உள்ள டிராப் பண்ணிட்டே வருவீங்க. Then next one, yes, you arrange like footages, select the skills, graphics, audio. இந்த categorize பண்ணும்போது கிட்டத்தட்ட உங்களோட work இன்னும் ரொம்ப simplify ஆயிடும். You start working with the visuals. Next one, and editing தெரியாதவங்களுக்கு நான் ஒரு சின்ன டிப் என்ன அப்படின்னா, we have L cut and J cut here. This is a key point where you switch between different shots. Let's say if your footage is completely a A-roll, there is no B, then it's hard to make it in this way. But somehow we can make it like L or J. But the point, if you have a B-roll of footages lot, then the first shot and which is preceding with the audio, then you can insert a B-roll footage. That means the audio continues from the video first footage. Then again the J, the audio starts with it, but you don't know who is speaking. Then once it's been moved forward, and you will know who is actually speaking. In the sense that you're not actually chopping the clips, you are giving a line of a flow to that audio presentation, kind of a transitions. Now, next one. Fed Up a documentary, when I was searching for, I love to read a lot of things about food, and the food culture, how it has been there, and the conspiracies. Now, ரொம்ப boring stuff next in the sense, next one. One more slide. Yes. இப்போ இதுதான் நம்ம ஸ்கிரிப்ட், இது கடைசல்ஸ், ரொம்ப boring stuff. இப்போ நம்ம இது வாசிச்சோம் அப்படின்னு தூங்கிடுவோம். They will just sleep. But இது இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங்கா மாத்தணும் அப்படின்னாக்க, we will take the key elements what is being narrated by. This is the actual script. This is actual wordings what he has said in that film. But in our 30 seconds, let's say if I am keeping that for 56 seconds, after 15 or 20 seconds, there's a chance that people will just shut down or they'll just move on to the next video, or they will get bored. So how well we can make interesting. So I just highlighted the key points what he's saying, 60 calories in almonds, it's just a difference between which is best. Almond or coca, rendathile fiber same, then which is best. So I'm just playing a video from Fed Up.
Why is a calorie not a calorie? All right, let's give you an example. Let's say let's take almonds. If you consume 160 calories in almonds, because of the fiber in the almonds, the food is not going to get absorbed immediately. So your blood sugar rises a lot. Why is a calorie not a calorie? All right, let's give you an example. Let's take almonds. If you consume 160 calories in almonds, because of the fiber in the almonds, the food is not going to get absorbed immediately. So your blood sugar rise is going to be a lot lower. It's going to be for longer. So if the opposite of the almond, or the opposite of the almond will be softer. Because there's no fiber, they get absorbed straight through the portal system to the liver. The liver gets this big sugar rush. When your liver gets that muscle, it has no choice to cut immediately. So 160 calories in almonds or 160 calories in soda. You tell me which is better.
So our food is 56 like 53 or 56 is being cut down to last 5 seconds. And the first initial things is being translated into visual things. So this is where we call documentary is not a kind of a numb treatment. It's completely a creative part of our video productions. So it's all about how we treat it. Let's say in the script நமக்கு வருது ஒருத்தர் சொல்றாரு, kind of they are narrating, இந்த மாதிரி kind of உள்ள இருந்து ஒரு ஆல்மண்ட் போகுது நம்ம டைஜஸ்டிவ் சிஸ்டம்குள்ள, and it is going to liver and ஒரு மெட்டபாலிசம் கிரியேட் ஆகுது. இதெல்லாம் சொல்லும்போது we feel like it's kind of இது எப்படி பண்றது, but it's just a matter of a simple after effects. After effects are the basic things. Even if you know the after effects, like you are so well, the geek in it, you can create a VFX for movies, but na and the grade is all. These are the very basic things you can learn from the after effects, and you can make your content even more interesting. And the next one. Okay, this is data again from food industry, how the conspiracy is truth getting like kind of crime or investigation, truth, kind of disclosing some kind of things. And here, what we are finding, parliamentary passed pandra oro bills, no, it's not passing through the final verdict. That means the Monsanto work panna navargal White House in Parliament le vela irukanga. So you're giving your petition to the government saying that I want to ban this, the chemical stuff which has been used for the fertilizers. But what they have done, they are not actually taking up the petition. Well, the reason why, the people who are giving that petition is already a part of Monsanto. 7 வருஷத்துக்கு முன்னாடி Monsanto கம்பெனியில work பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தாங்க. அப்போ இதுக்கு எப்படி விஷுவல் ட்ரீட்மெண்ட் கொண்டு வரலாம் அப்படின்னு யோசிக்கும்போது it's kind, next slide, food IMC. Video, back to it.
Justice Clarence Thomas wrote the majority opinion in a case that allowed these companies to prevent farmers from suing their own state.
Monsanto had very close ties to the Bush administration and the administration.
Why we haven't had much debate over this radical change to our food system. For the last 25 years, our government has been dominated by the industries that was meant to be regulated. Just because you have people with expertise in the industry, may turn out to be really good regulators. It's really about what interests they decide to represent.
Okay. If a script, the elaboration, we need to convert that into B-roll footages. That means, if let's say, parliament, just for a sake, முன்னாடி யூஸ் ஒர்க் பண்ண கம்பெனிஸ்ல இருக்கிறவங்க தான் இப்ப இருக்காங்க அப்படின்னாக்க how you convert that into B-roll footages. Just a simple, the reason why I inserted this particular clip is that they just used the effects for visiting card. முன்னாடி இந்த கம்பெனில அவங்க வேலை பார்த்தாங்க, இப்போ அவங்க யூஎஸ்ல இருக்காங்க. Then that visiting card just enters into the White House. Again, the next person comes, he was the supervisor of that particular company, and again he is now working in the White House. So just a simple thought process. So just a simple thought process, how they translate the ideas, the ideas into a visual format. So next we will move on to the sound. The basic one, again, another core part. We need a very good voiceover. Let's say if you're going for a voiceover, ask someone who can speak well or who has a very good voice or kind of a basic voice to have a narration. Let's say if you don't have the voiceover things, then you can try a software called Speechalo. You can drop your script into that Speechalo, then it actually translates that into voiceover. Now next, we will move on to the next one. And whenever we do a short films, right? Short films or ad or documentaries, we always take a sound from movies. ஏதாவது ஒரு மூவில இருந்து அந்த சவுண்ட் ட்ராக் எடுத்துட்டு நம்ம அதுல போட பார்ப்போம். But never please use that. When you use that particular soundtrack, you get an emotion of that particular movie, but not for your own video productions. So I suggest you to use the video from any one of the audio platform called Audio Network, and in case it's actually pirated, it says it has some cost, but if you want to use it free, you can install Ideal. Internet Download Manager. Once you play that audio, automatically the played audio will get fetched into that and you can download it. And likewise, you can take a soundtrack and give credits who actually composed for that, rather than going for a, for composing a new one. Or don't take soundtrack from any one of the movies that actually doesn't connect with our own emotions, what we are trying in our own video productions. Then we'll fast forward till next. We'll fast forward. Let's say we're coming to the end due to the short of time, but in the information now, National Film Awards and awards. Now let me ask you, how many awards do we have for future films in national awards? We always used to send, the documentaries or short films or AD or BSA to the film festival, which we know to our locality. But you can also try sending your work to National Film Awards. But let me ask you, how many categories are there for future films? Let's get 10 entries. Best future film? My entries. Sorry. Direction. Okay. Cinematography. Music director. Editor. Photography. Okay, that also comes in. Oh, yeah, fine. Script writing. Why? Okay, now let me display the total number of film awards given for future films. Next slide. We have total 50 entries for future films, like makeup artist, costume design, production design, choreography, jewelry, best lyrics. Likewise, we have also other categories like different regional movies. No? Now let me ask you, how many categories do we have for non-fiction? Just a random number, just 20. Now, actually, in the 20 categories are using area. You know what? Actually, when I was just producing my work to the people I know. So, our actually film festival on the coordination. When I showed to him, he said, try panna. I said, no, I don't think I need to make it even better for that National Film Award. He said, no, just try for it. His name is Santanam. I think he was a coordinator for Southern India Film Festival. And he motivated me in saying that documentary list first of all, actor kind of directions. These are the categories which we pitch in. But we never know what is the avenues which is distributed for the non-feature films. So these are the categories. It need not to be in one single thing. You can try even for editing. So we are coming to an end of the section, but last section, just as I promised you, I will give you a short tips to collect or to find your passion. Next slide. Next slide. Okay. It's very important. In fact, most of the people will be skilled enough, the passionate. What are you passionate about? What are the passionate? Content writing. What is it? Music. Passion. So let's say passion rules the wine. Now, in the important reasons, very important. Let's say we confuse with passion and skills, and also the monetary. Most of the people think either a passion, either a passion for the camera, but okay, I will buy you a camera. I will buy you for 1 lakh or 2 lakh. Money generate. You can't live with your passion for a longer duration of your life. You need to generate money. You're not doing it for a charity. Charity is separate. That's a completely different part. But you are doing it for a profession. So any professionals, our remuneration, the first thing, now it's not just about the accolades or kind of reward. It's beyond that. So you should also know how to generate your money. So when you pass out from third year, you should know where you are getting placed. Second slide, next slide. Now, if you club the passion and the skill, you get hobby. That's completely wrong sense. In the sense, passion and skills, but that doesn't generate a money for us. You'll be taking photographs. Let's say you may be a good at voiceover artist or drawing or kind of painting, content writing. But what's the point? Friends appreciate but the real appreciation should come through the economic generation. So let's say in the era there's something is missing. Then what about passion plus monetary? Most of the people would say, yeah, finally I found my dream job. What does it mean? Let's say if you are good at painting, you found a job related to that painting, then they are paying also in a decent way. Then that means you got the dream, you achieved your dream, But something is missing here. What is skills? Then you will ask, skill recruit for let's say for RJ. Basically, because they are passionate in that and they get recruited and they will be running for in that particular organizations. Then why do we need a skill? Then what is skill? That means we are living a kind of our media department is a kind of it's a blend of aesthetic and technologies. So you always need to get updated day by day. So after 3 years, someone will come into a place. Let's say you know how to take a photography, but you also know how to take in different circumstances. What is the lighting setups? So skill develop. So next one. What skill monetary job, just like for Chetan Bhagat. He was actually working in an IT company, but his passion is for writing. So someone said content writing. But his passion is about writing, but he couldn't pay. He was working, he was also earning, but it's not his passion. So when you connect all these three circles, next slide, then you become a success. Now, from the personal note, I never know when I was in first year. I never know until when I was in third year. Now, one of my VP HR told this concept that we were sitting in a meeting room saying that, you need to align these stuffs. So if you want me to put my passion, documentary filmmaking is not my job, I will put it in passion. But if I want to know, I'm good at decent photography, also video editing. I always develop my skills in video editing. And right from almost with the 14 to 15 years of experience in graphic design, also the documentation, allowed to put my skill of graphic designing, also the documentations in the monetary benefits. But even it took me 3 decades to decide, Initial days, I was putting passion into the job and the job into the skills. It was completely chaos, what we saw in initial slides. So now, care எடுத்து சொல்றேன் அப்படின்னாக்க இது ஆக்சுவலா சொல்லி தரது நீங்க ஆக்சுவலா ஆர்கனைசேஷன்ல வந்தா மட்டும்தான் சொல்லுவாங்க. ஒரு கம்பெனில வரும்போது they will have a different concepts how to succeed. This is what the smart work space. நம்ம நிறைய பேர் ஹார்ட் ஒர்க் பண்ணி நான் பேஷன்லயே நான் தவிக்கிறேன் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு நான் சக்சஸை மீட் பண்ண முடியல அப்படின்னு தவிக்கிறவங்களுக்கு just put yourself into this category. Just go home, just invest half an hour of your life. என்னோட பேஷன் என்ன, what is my strength, what is my weakness, நான் பேஷன் தூக்கி மானிட்டரி பெனிஃபிட்ல கொண்டு வர முடியுமா? If you could able to align, I'm pretty sure you won't waste the time which I invested. Basically, it takes certain times, but the reason why I am here is to give you the 80% of effort so that you will just put only the 20% of smart work. Thank you. Thanks for listening. If you have any doubt related to this session,
Thank you, Mr. Vignesh Tangaraj, for sharing your experience and knowledge with us. It is very useful for me personally to become director, as well as I hope for them too. Guys, genuinely appreciate your attention today that we are bringing us to this end. Now we invite Magalakshmi Ma'am, Assistant Professor of School of Media Studies, to render the word of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. I take privilege in rendering the gratitude for the successful conduct of today's international workshop on documentary filmmaking. I first extend my gratitude to the Almighty. I would like to thank the speaker and the resource person of the day, Mr. Vignesh Tangaraj. Thank you, sir, for the power-packed session. I'm sure our students gained a lot of insights on documentary filmmaking. Then I would like to place on record my sincere thanks to our Director and Secretary, Brother Dr. S. Arogyaraj, our Academic Director, Dr. Fatima Vasan, our Principal, Dr. Usha George, our Vice Principal Shift 2, Dr. Geeta Rufus, and Vice Principal Shift 1, Dr. Meena, for their support and guidance. I would also want to thank the heads of the department, Habib sir and Rasul sir, for motivating us to conduct this event. I also want to thank Dr. Devashri Andu, Assistant Professor, Vilayagora University, for her support in conducting today's program. The students from Ethiopia are also witnessing this event. I thank the faculty members of the School of Media Studies for their never-ending support and cooperation for the smooth conduct of the program. I thank the students for their participation. I thank the supervisor and support staff for their efforts. Thank you, one and all. Students, we will be sharing the feedback form in the WhatsApp group. Kindly fill that and then you can leave. Thank you.